It's interesting. I've learned that, we're emotional beings. So when you have emotion, we feel emotion, allow it to come out because we are emotional, but we need to discipline those emotions because we don't want that emotion to take over in an irrational, destructive way. Right. So we're emotional. We be emotional. We feel the emotion, but we discipline our emotions as well. That's called self-control, right?
Yes. Yes. Self-regulation. I think I tell people, if you want to know where you are in your recovery, how do you react in traffic? How do you react when somebody pulls out in front of you? It's because self-regulation is you feel that emotion, that irritation that somebody cut you off, but then you come down. It's how fast you can come down out of it. It's the people that stay up, and they talk about it the rest of the day and they're irritated and everything else is frustrating the rest of the day because they haven't come down off of that emotional high, that frustration,
Well, what happens with that example and others just like that is, you're not responsible for your first thought because a thought can come from a situation, a trigger, an event, like you said, someone cutting you off, but you are responsible what you do with that thought.
Yeah.
And a lot of times what people do, what we do, and I find myself there sometimes too, is I start nourishing and feeding that thought over and over and over. And then it just permeates my entire day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I have to discipline that thought. The first thought will come, and this comes even with addiction, pornography, meth addiction. I'm not responsible even if I have a triggering thought, but I am responsible what I do with that thought.
Right.
What thought am I nourishing? The product of my day, the product of my week, my month, my year, and my life is what am I doing with the thoughts I'm having? That will have direct influence and outcome on my day, my week, month, and life.
Yeah.
That's what we have to take a look at is what are we thinking and then how do we discipline those thoughts? What are we looking at? What are we focused on? What are we nourishing?
Yeah.
Right? Someone cuts you off. Of course, it's annoying, but what are you going to do with that thought now? See, that now will set the pattern for you.
Yes. Yeah. And how do you, we'll just get right into it here, but how do you?
Well, we're slowly evolving into it, Dallas.
Organically.
Yeah.
How do you teach someone? So there, in addiction, a lot of us have ruminating thoughts, right? So something happens to us.
Well, use another word than ruminating. What do you mean?
Obsessive thoughts. Like, they can't stop thinking about the person cutting us off. That's kind of a lame example, maybe, but.
Well, let me stop you right there for a second. Interesting. Can't stop thinking about the person cutting you off. And that's an example of anything, any thought, you're just using that as the premise.
Right.
Well, you can, you're just either choosing not to, or you haven't learned the discipline to.
Yeah.
When I coach people, we avoid the word can't. Because can't takes away power. Okay. Yeah. So I can't stop thinking of, you can, you either choosing not to, or you just don't have the discipline or the strategies to do it yet.
Yeah.
You can.
Yeah.
Right. Because saying I can't loses power.
Right.
I can gives power. So I can stop thinking about that. I just either don't know how yet, or I'm choosing not to. And I'll tell you, Dallas, most of the time it comes down to a choice. It comes down to a choice, and that choice is directly influenced by your pattern. What is your pattern that now has become habitual?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
So I have an habitual pattern of when someone cuts me off, this is what happens. I just can't stop. Well, no, now you have just confirmed the self-fulfilling prophecy. It'll always be the way it has always been. Does that make sense? All kind of plays a role in this massive, unbelievable computer that lives in our skull. This computer is unbelievable.
Yeah.
So now you just have escalated the self-fulfilling prophecy, and you've taken all power away.
Yeah.
You see how that just snowballs.
Yes. So
you can.
How would you? How would you? If it's either a choice or you don't have the tools to do this, what are some things what are some tools that you could give somebody? How would you get them started with learning the discipline of?
Well, yeah. So the first thing, Dallas, is, and it's interesting because some of these techniques and strategies, most people already know. It's just that they're not applying them. They're not practicing them. A lot of people are very smart. I know I need to stop smoking meth. I know I need to stop doing this because it's destructive. We just don't know how to apply it, practice it, and eventually master it. Yeah. So one of the things you really have to do, we all have to do, is slow down. Slow down. Become present, become aware. Become aware of what we're thinking. We need to slow down. We are so fast. We react to our thoughts. We react to feelings. We don't respond to them anymore. We just react. We're not slowing down. We slow down. We take a look at what we're thinking and what we're feeling. You can't think one way and feel another. Your feelings are in line with what you're thinking. Okay. What you think is how you're going to feel. And then how you behave is going to affect how you feel. It all kind of is intertwined. So we slow down. How do we slow down? Basic technique. And I'm going to tell you something. Studies have shown, listen to this. This is very important for you, your listeners, all my clients, everyone that we work with.
Take note.
92% of people will not follow through on their goals.
Yeah.
That means out of 100 clients, eight will complete the goals or the plan or the strategies.
Yeah.
92% of people will not participate in their own recovery and transformation.
Yeah.
True numbers.
Wow.
Right. Yeah. Why? Yeah. Because people are not willing to do what it takes. You want something, you need something. That's great. I know a lot of people that I needed sobriety for decades, but I wasn't willing to do what it took because I was so afraid of change, afraid of the unknown, afraid of who I'm going to be if I eliminate this stuff out of my life. So this limited belief of fear got in the way of me changing my life. But most people will not do what it takes. So back to the question, what can you do? I don't digress too much, Dallas, but I kind of get in depth.
It's okay. I love it.
If you journal your feelings, write it. Don't put it on the computer. I mean, if you have to type it on the laptop, you can. That's fine. Yeah. Writing it slows you down. Journal. Yeah, this is a technique, and I know you're familiar with it. I journaled for a long, long time early in recovery for years, every day. Journaling works. It's a form of self-therapy, self-reflection. You know, it's a way of really taking a look at what's going on inside me. It's a way of me being aware of my true beliefs, aware of my internal dialogue. It gives me an opportunity, but most people won't do it. Right. But it's been around for centuries. This isn't new. It's been around for a long time. But I don't want to journal. That's boring. Well, then just keep doing what you're doing until you're ready to start practicing some strategies. Now, I want to add this. There are many strategies to help you slow down and take a look at what's really going on. Many strategies. Now, there will be some strategies that my clients just don't want to do or don't like. Now, if I have a client or someone that doesn't want to journal, that doesn't mean that it's all over now. That there are other strategies and techniques we can use as well. You know, but the example I'm giving is, well, what are you willing to do? You're not willing just to write down 3 sentences for 5 minutes once a day? Wow. You know, then it goes to show me, well, how willing are you really to slow down and take a look at bettering your life? No one on earth, Dallas, is responsible for anyone's well-being but the person themselves. Yeah. I'm not responsible for you doing well, Dallas. No. I could hope you do well. If you reach out, I could do what I can to help you or help change your thinking as you reach out to your clients. You are there to help them, but you're powerless over whether they're going to succeed or not. It's up to them. It's up to you. Are you willing to do what it takes? Right. And if you say, yes, I am willing to do what it takes, well, then here are the strategies that'll work. And the best strategies on earth, Dallas, are the ones that worked for you. So when I coach people, it's what worked for me. That's the only forum I can really help a client with is what worked for me. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to work for you. Yeah. So like when I meet with a client, for example, or I talk with someone, even if it's a sponsee, an AA or crystal meth anonymous or sex addicts, whatever it is, we talk first to see if we're on the same page, because I might not be able to sponsor you or help you.
Yeah.
Because we come from two totally different ways of thinking. And therefore my plan or program or what worked for me may not work for you. I can't make something up that might work for you. Yeah. I have something that worked for me, and then I can offer that to you. If that strategy is not going to work, then maybe I'm not the coach for you. You're not the coach for everybody, right? You're not the sponsor for everybody. You can't help everybody. No. They have to kind of resonate with you and your story, and they can resonate. And then they're like, So, strategies that if you ask certain strategies that were used, I'm not going to come from reading a book. I'm not a therapist. I'm a life coach. I'm a behavioral health coach. I have all this stuff and I have life experience, but I am not interested to coach someone on what a book said. I want to coach you and help you and give you suggestions from experience that worked.
Right.
And let me tell you something. I was at the bottom of the barrel, especially with sex addiction and deep meth addiction. These strategies worked for me, and odds are if they worked for me, they're going to work for you.
Yeah. Does
that make sense? So journaling, imperative, slow down and be aware of what you're thinking. A lot of people are so fast, they're not even aware of what they're thinking.
Right.
So like when you had said, I can't stop thinking about it, you didn't even realize you said can't, because nearly 90% of negative self-talk is unnoticed by the conscious mind. So most people don't even realize what they're saying.
Well, I wasn't saying that for me. That's
no, I know you would give you would give an example.
Yeah, I hear a lot of that.
So what happens to you when someone cuts you off? Can you control your thoughts? I'm kidding, Dallas.
Now, yes. Yeah.
I think, well, what do I really?
Now, I will say though that was the first time in my recovery where my mother noticed that I was changing. Is that we were in traffic. Someone almost backed into me and I was non-reactive. And she was like, I've never seen this before. Like, I've never, who are you right now?
You're like, I have no idea.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, I had just come off of being homeless and destroying my life. If this man backs into me, so fucking what?
Right.
Everything, the perspective of everything changes.
Oh my gosh, perspective. Yes. Yeah. Perspective, perception, extremely, extremely important. When you have a healthy perspective, you realize the smallness of things, and most everything is small. You know what I mean? But you realize that with a healthy perspective. Yep. Yeah. Very good. Very good. Dallas, you're coming along wonderfully. I'm glad we worked through the traffic stuff, so now we can move on.
That's right. We'll name this episode Traffic. Something else. Road Rage.